back to the Jam on the U. We're actually going to switch to a more serious topic. Right now, with all the news about Fire and Fury, the controversial book about the Trump administration, we decided to take a closer look with our Brandon Pope, who read the book over the weekend. Hello, Brandon. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm happy to be here in the nice, toasty studio with you guys.
But this
You're
is
a resident scholar.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is an important topic for us to break down, for sure. Everyone is buzzing about this book.
No doubt, no doubt. And it's a really, really good read. But it's still a little spotty on the facts. You got to be careful. That's my warning to people. Have a grain of salt with there. It's like eating potato chips, right? You eat one, you eat another, you keep turning the page, you want to do more. Is it good for you, though? It's kind of like confirmation bias in a way. We're not really sure about all the facts and if it's really true, but it confirms some of the things that we think we know.
So when you say spotty facts, where are you coming from? Like, how do we know that they're spotty?
Well, a lot of it is in the reporting style. You know, it's not in your traditional journalistic attribution or quotes. It's more in a narrative style, as if he's actually there. Michael Wolff is a fly on the wall for these meetings, these conversations. And so it implies that he's sitting around all these people when this is happening, when in reality, that's probably not the case.
Oh, so there's secondhand interviews after those meetings.
And he's probably hearing about these conversations in a secondhand way as well. But to give him credit, he claims he's went through over 200 interviews. He was in the White House and was talking to aides and things like that. And he has quoted Steve Bannon, and they haven't disputed those quotes. So
he does have audio tapes, correct?
He claims he has audio tapes. He has not released them yet, but if he's really all about that, we'd like to hear them for sure.
Yeah, and that's what's most interesting to me as you talk about Wolff and being a fly on the wall. I mean, he's sitting there saying he was there even present the day of James Comey's ouster. Like, he's saying he was actually in the room and has audio of that stuff.
How wild is that?
Could that be possible?
Well, that's what baffles so many people. How do you let this guy...
Who has unauthorized access is what the president said.
Apparently, he was let into everything. How did he get that access? And maybe that speaks more to the chaos, in a sense, of this White House and the case he makes. A lot of the theories people think out there, he buttered the White House up, made them think he's going to write a piece that's very pro-Trump.
Because in 2015, the Hollywood Reporter article was what really endeared himself to President.
And he's even quoted about a year ago talking about how the media is too hard on Trump. And so maybe this was his way of buttering himself into there. People get more comfortable, more loose. Oh, this is my pal here. Let's talk about it.
He alluded to that a bit in his Savannah Guthrie interview.
Yeah, he said he'll do whatever and said whatever he had to get the information. As any good journalist would, you still have maybe some ickiness about how he obtained the information, because there is a journalistic standard where you want people to know that they're being talked to and that they know that their stuff can be used in a certain format. He says everything was on the record, but he does imply that maybe people weren't all the way aware of that.
So definitely not discrediting the book and the claims made in the book, but it is a lot of he said this, she said this. Bannon now coming out this weekend saying that he apologizes for the claims that he made in the book and singing Trump's praises, Trump calling him out, saying that it's kind of a flip-flop comment. Why would you say all of this matters? Because a lot of people from the outside, they just look at this and they're like, it's just more mess and more drama. We should be focusing more on the issues. But why do you think it's so important that we do kind of pay attention to some of these claims made in this book?
Well, no doubt. I think the big reason why it matters is because we are facing an unprecedented time in history. This presidency, no matter what you think of it, is like none other. And as historians, as people who are observing the times, we want to know what's happening inside. And 20 years, 30 years from now, our kids who are going to be in history class are going to rely on these accounts to kind of tell us what happened. So this is the first kind of peel back of the curtain, in a sense, into what's going on and what's been going on.
So when you peeled back the layers, Brandon, what was one thing that really stuck out to you?
There's so much in this book. Maybe the most shocking thing or most alarming thing for me was hearing how Donald Trump talks about white supremacist movements. A lot of people had concerns when he had his both sides comment about Charlottesville, right? Michael Wolff basically asserts that Donald Trump has a fascination with white supremacist movements, with the KKK, and seeks to understand them better, understand what's the big deal about them, and maybe they have a point. And so that part is almost alarming, you know?
Almost.
Oh, it is alarming if true. But you know that's probably the most eye-popping. The other thing is what people are saying about him that work closely with him.
Is that one of those things you take with a grain of salt, though, that you're talking about?
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those secondhand things. You don't really have a fact to really base that off of. But this is where journalists have to step in and do some future reporting and give some more context to that. Good starting point.
Okay. All right, Brandon Pope, thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you,
sure
guys.
we'll be talking about that from days to come.
Oh yeah, we're going to keep digging through.
All right, so we also wanted to hear from John Hanson about this topic. John, what are your thoughts? Let's check in.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is obviously that Brandon mentioned kind of the palace intrigue scene behind the curtain. I think it's a fascinating read to kind of look through it. I haven't read the entire book. I kind of want to say that from the forefront. Honestly, I think a lot of us are dealing with, if you are against President Trump or if you have feelings of animosity towards the presidency, a lot of fatigue. You get a lot of these stories of the president, things positive, negative about the president. The one word of caution I have for Democrats and people that support support any missions against the president, you could say, is that the elections are about 10 months away, 11 months away when we're facing the midterm elections. If you really want to translate this into changing the House, into doing something politically active about this, it's going to take a lot more than this sort of stuff. People that are against the president are going to look at this book and believe every word is gospel, or they're going to buy into these sorts of things. If you are pro-President Trump, you're going to say it's all lies. So I think we have already kind of formed these battle lines, and now it's about who's going to be able to register more people, get more money, and really turn this book into what is political action and what could be. All right, guys, I have a lot of billion thoughts. I got to read that book. It certainly is fascinating, the whole thing. But guys, that's all I got for now. Back to you in the studio.